Hey y'all.
Hey.
I'm Shakora.
And I'm Ebony.
And welcome to the Unapologetically Us podcast, where we talk about life, mental health, fitness, finances, and everything in between. Thank y'all for joining us. We're back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back.
Yes, welcome back to our podcast. Thank you guys for joining us. If you are new here, be sure to subscribe to our channel.
Mm-hmm. Please do so. Please do so.
Okay.
Please do so.
Please. If you, I was going to say, if you are new here again, I literally just said that. Anyway, let's get into our first segment before I mess up anything else in this episode. Child, listen, you got anything that's been going on with you?
Well, I am going to I'm thinking hard on an October fitness challenge, right? We'll be in maybe mid-October, and I want to do mid-October to the end of October, maybe thinking about a mile run challenge. So however that mile is broken up into the day, fair game. But I'm trying to figure out how to, I guess, do an app so that we can track who's doing it and who not. So yes, I'm excited about that. Just trying to get these ideas that I have rolling. And my sister's helping me with this one. But the ideas that I have rolling, get them going. Because, I said I was putting my feet to the fire. So, baby, the fire must have went out. The fire acting like it went out. But no, we still at it. We still at it. That's it. Child, listen.
Well, same for me because Montreal commented under one of our recent videos, and he said, under our Girl Just Do It episode, and he said he remembered me calling him out about getting his stuff going, and he has been consistently, posting his
yes, he has
blog post, Adulthood I Hate It Here by Shirley Trail the PE. And so he said in the comments, he said, I don't want to hear these goals in 2024. Basically, do it. And so, there are some things that, like you said, putting your feet to the fire, that I'm putting my feet to the fire on. And coming back better and harder than ever. Not doubting myself or anything like that, like I did, which is what held me back a little bit last time, or been holding me back now, period. But So that in 2024, I ain't talking about what I want to do. I'm talking about what I'm actually doing. So,
no, that's weird.
So stay tuned for all those things, which can take us into our topic. We're talking about turning your losses into lessons. And part of the reason why sometimes it's hard to make that move is because you're scared of taking that loss. But you're going to give your one of your quotes by the great Michael Jordan, but mine is always, you miss 100% of the shots you never take. So.
Yes. And I actually read this whole quote. Of course, I've seen the quote broken up, but this quote by Michael Jordan that says, he says, I've missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I've lost almost 300 games. 26 times I've been trusted to take the game-winning shot and missed. I failed over and over and over again in my life. That is why I succeed. That is so, so true. Both of those quotes is so true. Everybody, me, is always scared of failure. Anything, whether that was a F in school, whether that was a failure or incomplete or whatever, starting all the way back, we didn't want to fail. Failure mean less than, right? Meant that you weren't able to do something that you should have been doing.
And something was wrong with you.
And something was wrong with you. And something was wrong with you. So we keep that negative stigma attached to that when we need failure to grow. If I could think all the way back, maybe in school, getting an F on something or not doing well in something, and what it made me do to move forward, then I'm like, oh, I needed to do that because I wouldn't have put forth the effort that needed to be put forth had I not received, because this little bit that you thought you was doing, it ain't it. Do some more. So failure is necessary. That's a hard statement. I just said that, and that's a hard statement. It is.
I know I felt like I failed myself or held my. I think I mentioned this on the podcast. Feeling like I held myself back or failed myself in some of the choices that I made regarding my career. Feeling like I would be further ahead than where I was if I didn't make certain decisions. And hindsight 2020 probably would be further ahead if I didn't make the decisions. It's kind of like you had to choose path A or path B, and path A had its pros and cons, and path B had its pros and cons. And when I think about taking the path that I chose, it did have its pros and cons. There are some things I learned along the way, but I also feel like I held myself back from some of my goals. But then if I can't say, oh, it was all the way a failure, because some of the lessons that I've learned on this path will gear me when I hop back on the path that I originally should have been on in the first place. And I also feel like it made certain things along this path made me a better person in a sense. I wouldn't take this path because, like I talked about in the last episode, I ended up going to therapy and realizing some things about myself. Had I not went this path, I probably wouldn't have met certain people and probably would have never even put myself through some of the things that I did go through. And, I probably would have eventually got to the point of fixing yourself, because everybody gets to that point. But the road may not have been the road that it was. If I would have took the other path versus the path that I did choose.
Right. Yeah. Same thing here, for me and my career. Cause, I think I said on the podcast before, I essentially, when I entered into college, I was going into nursing. And I just knew I was going to be a nurse. I was going to do this, do that. And baby, what I didn't know is blood made my knees weak. But nursing was hard. There was so much of learning that needed to be done. And us again, I think that I needed to fail in that area to get on the path, like you said, of what was actually for me, because so many times we see people go down paths because somebody told them to, or because this is what the family does, or this is what type of success you need to have, when that's not even a path designed for you, and you get there and you feel stuck. How many people with degrees, with different fields that they don't even work in? Now we got all this student loans and you ain't even putting it to work. So I'm glad that failure had to happen. Now, granted, had I been a nurse, I probably would have tried to figure it out. And because like we said in a previous episode, that we kind of adapt to the things that we're put in front of. But what would that have required of me? So I'm glad that failure pushed me to say, you know what, figure out what you're doing. This doesn't mean the end. This doesn't mean the end. Do what needs to be done. And of course, it wasn't just because nursing was hard. I mean, I got pregnant. Pregnancy and having to get blood drawn showed me that, oh, yeah, no, I'm not going to be able to do this. Like, this was wrong. It's different from learning those things in the book and you reading it, studying in the book, hearing about it, y'all talking about it, cool. But when I have to put it into play, the knees get weak. I get shakes, I'm about to pass out. No, thank you. Can't do the blood. So through that failure, I was able to find the path that I was supposed to be on, you know? So one of the most important things in, you know, accepting your losses is to own it. Is to own it. And when we own it, even though we may not want to, it's like, oh, now I have to do everything in my power to not do this again, which is true, but we do everything in our power to not have to fail again when failure again is necessary.
Yeah, even thinking about, because with me, it was right after school, and I had to choose where I was going to go. And it was either stay out here or move back home or move to Texas or move, you know, wherever. And so I ended up moving back home. And the reason was because I was, you know, in a relationship at the time, and it was long distance. And we were already a mess anyway. Well, not that we were a mess, but...
Not the mess.
The things that I felt were issues would be corrected if we were in the same city.
Gotcha.
And so, looking back, I hate to say it, but it was true. I settled for something that I really didn't want to make what I thought was going to be my forever work. And you talking about failure, we talking about, you know, tests and stuff like that, but you have failed relationships too that sometimes make you think back on signs that were there that you didn't see. And looking back, and too, I'm older now, but looking back, I would have, you know, told myself if it was meant for me and this person to be together, then we'll be together whether we are 3 hours apart or 20 minutes up the street. And so, and then there could be a reason why you fight harder to make this stuff work, because you're like, you don't, subconsciously, you're like, you don't realize what I gave up to come here. And so, and even with my business, I bumped my head on a couple of things. You know, we can sit here and say, yeah, as an entrepreneur, you never really turn it off, but you never really do. If you're trying to build a business and work a 9 to 5 because you ain't at the point, you know, to just take off full time into your business, then it does require a lot of your time. When you have to choose between whether or not you're going to sleep or get your work done. And you're studying for licenses, you have to determine if you're going to sleep or study for this exam, or go hang out with your friends and go eat juicy seafood or something like that. And you have to decide what you're going to do. And so even a test, like we talking about, I felt, you know, my attempts at the CPA exam. One of them I was like, yeah, I know I'm going to fail this part, because I went in and my head was not there. My head was so many other places. And so I think I just clicked through the thing. I think it's a 3-hour exam. I finished in 45 minutes. I knew.
Not I'm just here to see what it's like.
But at the time, this is what I said. I said, you know what? Just get this one out the way. Like, you don't know what to expect. Just get it out the way. And that's what I did. But yes, owning, you know, your decisions, owning the fact that I made the decision after college to move back home, and I spent a good part of my life putting myself back on the right track.
That was a hard one for me, was owning it, especially since we're talking about the licensure test, when, you know, it was time for me to take my test to get my license. And I knew that, you know, test anxiety and fear and all of those things come up. And when I tell you they hit me hard, they always hit me hard. Taking any type of test always hit me hard, whether I studied for it severely or not. It always hit me hard. So that packed on top of that stress, anxious feelings, and all of that. So when I'm talking about failure, oh my God, it was so hard for me to accept that failure. You then start to question yourself. Okay, well, maybe this wasn't the path for me. I thought that's what God told me, but maybe not. Maybe I'm not smart enough. Am I smart enough? I studied. I did this. I did that. Can't be. It was so hard to accept or to own that failure, but understanding that this article say lessons cannot be learned when we are in denial, and that's what I was. I was like, oh no, this can't. It ain't meant for me to do this. I cannot fail this. Do this again. Period. Right? You know what? I'll just stay a provisional counselor for the rest of my life if I could, or whatever. My supervisor then told me, all right, I'm gonna give you your little minute. How much longer we got on this phone? Oh, all right. So when we finish this phone call, you're done. You're done dwelling. You done putting yourself down like you don't, cause you have it. You needed this to move forward, right? And I'm like, whatever. I ain't doing it no more. I'm not taking this no more. So yeah, but once I got to the point where I was like, all right, I know what's there. Write down what you remember. You know what to do. Put forth a little more effort than you did the first time and go back at it.
And only it can be self-examining too. Like when I went in and I was like, I'm gonna just see what it's gonna be. I ended at that result because I studied, but I did. You know, I got on my study material and I was doing this. But sometimes when you're tapping into something for the first time and nobody, or you're not really in contact at that time and nobody went before you, you're kind of like, or they're saying, yeah, I'm gonna help. But then y'all paths never cross. And so at this time, you're still, like I say, the blind leading the blind. You're like, wait a damn minute. So then you get overwhelmed. And then you just like, okay, part one. And you like part one for the 10th time already. So then, but at this point, you didn't schedule the test because you're like, well, if I keep putting it off, I'm never going to do it. And you do the test. The schedule test to put the fire up under your ass to go ahead and do it. But then you get overwhelmed and you half-assed it. So then owning it too is owning where you fell short too. Yeah, where you could have done better with it too. When I became unhappy with my career, I had to own and take responsibility that I chose this job over this job. Knowing that this is really where I wanted to be. It was more in line with where I saw myself and the connection that I had to get there or whatever. But because young and in love, you choose this path over here. And then you look up and it's 2-3 years later and you see somebody who you see people who you graduated with and they're going off and obtaining some of the things that you wanted to do in the first place. And so then you sitting there and you all in your fields at the same time too. You got to be responsible for what you chose to do. Yep. And so even like when I got my heaviest, feeling like I was feeling myself as a person or whatever, at the same time too, ain't nobody tell you when that boy to lay up in the bed and eat pluckers. 10 wing combos with loaded fries.
Tell me how you feel without telling me how
ain't nobody tell you how to do it. Ain't nobody tell you to do that. Facts. You got up and you chose to eat that stuff.
It's so delicious.
It is, but at the same time, and you've been hearing all this time, do not eat heavy and then lay down. Yeah. It was one time, looking back, if I could see a visual of how we looked, I said, we look like some fat asses. Because we literally laying in this bed eating pluckers.
Pluckers is so good.
Or we laying in the bed and we eating pizza, like whatever. So after a while, when you just keep eating certain things, you do have to, some of that stuff could be tied to other things, but some of that stuff is still you too.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so when you feel like you failing at your fitness goals, when I say, okay, you know what, working out ain't the issue. You know, even eating sometimes ain't the issue. What I'm lacking is discipline.
Yep.
And so telling myself, okay, well, this is why you tried all these times and you failed. Owning that and saying you wasn't disciplined enough to do that. You wasn't disciplined enough to make sure that you went to the gym every day. And then not only that, taking advantage of the time that you had in the gym, but at the same time too, if you say that I'm gonna do this, then damn it, you do it.
Absolutely.
So if I'm gonna eat between 1 and 9, like today we record. Shakur said, "Did you eat? Did you eat?" I said no, because I know I fell off. So I'm making myself get back discipline and telling myself I'm not gonna eat before 1 again. And I've been doing that.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Not eating before 1 to get myself back in that mode. Because when I was disciplined, I saw the effects. Not only just weight, discipline in a lot of other areas of my life. I saw the effects of those things. So when I failed, I saw the effects of those too. And so now it's like, okay, you know what? Well, I done did that. Let's own it. Or whatever, and then let's to the next part. We're gonna get on back up and keep going.
Back up.
Because if we like that person telling you, look, either you gonna after this phone call, we done.
We done with that.
Because why are we gonna stay at what shoulda, woulda, couldas?
Can't change it.
The goal's still there, and this is still the path. So get up and keep going.
And that get up, bro. That get up.
It's hard as hell.
Oh man, because she said, you know, and I'm listening to her, and I'm like, okay. I said what I said, you know, but looking back now, and I'm like, I'm so thankful, grateful that I had somebody, and not just her, you know, other people in my life, family, you know, my husband, everybody saying, okay, feel how you gonna feel. Because, baby, when that failure hit, like, I couldn't even gather myself. My husband had to come and get me when I realized I didn't pass that test. I was like, you lying. I could come pick me up, please. I can't drive. I'm emotional. Or he may have pulled up, and we sat in the parking lot of the testing site until he had been to talk me down. We had talked, we had started laughing. He like, you ready to go? And I'm like, but inside I'm like, this stupid or whatnot. But that get up, it was almost like it shift me into something else. I'm talking about, dog. Oh, okay. Because what you won't do is play on my top again. And then, so now I'm learning the material. I'm teaching people the material. I'm investing in myself. Oh, you said study group? Cool. How much? Oh, nothing? Cool. I'm helping others. What you need? I'm going to send it to you. I'm doing anything and everything. Somebody told me when I was working at the hospital, they told me, girl, you making me scared of that test, how much you studying for it. And I had to tell them, that's me. It's my personal journey. I have to do whatever I need to do to make sure that I feel confident in this test so I can defeat it and it don't defeat me. Because failure will feel like defeat. But as long as you get up. I felt that. I felt that. And it's hard. It's hard to get up. It's hard, even from a relationship that may have failed. It's hard to get up. You think you've done everything. You've been there. You've been supportive. You a marriage. I've been there. I've been supportive, and it failed. But if we look at that failure as not as defeat, but as something that's going to get me to where I need to be. Yeah, I hate that I had to go through it, but I can't change it. I can't go back. I can't jump in my time machine and be like, doop, 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 doop. Let me change this. I can't do that. So I have to get up, accept it, brush my little knees off, put on the Band-Aid if you need to, and keep it moving. Keep it moving.
And with that, it takes it to, if you're not failing, then you're not learning. Some of those failures, we look at them as downfalls so bad But at the same time, too, is we talking about lessons in these things. There are lessons involved in those. And this article says failure is a necessary step on the road to progress. It's a part of a journey that will not settle for stagnation. Failure is an opportunity to acknowledge that an attempt was made, didn't go as planned, but then that means you have another opportunity to get it right. And so with that stagnation part sticking out for me, because that's one thing that I can't be. It's stagnant. My career emotions now is feeling like I'm at a place of being stuck and everything like that. But then, taking leaps and moving and diving here. Like I said, my unhappiness there propelled me to really take my business serious, which is why I can say, I done bumped my head a couple times in my business because at the same time too, I'm the first.
Yeah.
And you want to be successful, but sometimes being successful leads to, you failing a little bit. Mm-hmm. And so, but you still here. Mm-hmm. It ain't gone. Mm-hmm. You just got to either pivot a little bit. Pivot has been my word this year. Pivot. Mm-hmm. Because even like looking at myself not having a house and feeling the way about not having a house. I'm 33 years old. I don't have a house. And,
she not homeless. She mean like house.
Yeah, like an actual house. I have an apartment, but not an actual house. But feeling like being not where I thought I would be in life, and then, or I never thought I would make this amount of money but still have to have a second job. And somebody telling me life is about to pivot.
Yeah, it is.
Adulthood is really pivoting.
Yes, it is.
People who are older than me saying, you try this, it didn't work, you pivot. You try this, it didn't work, you pivot. You try this, and it works. And it may work for a little while, but you got to pivot. And so I think if I had to name what this year was, this year to me was the year of discipline and the year of the pivot. Because I feel like I had failed so much and probably still and still going to fail. But I feel like the level of failure that I've hit so far, I hit the point of enough is enough. Mm-hmm. And so I got back up. I sat down and assessed myself where I went wrong, assessed where I really wanted to be, and then took the L's that I made and turned them into lessons to where I am now. So I said, I don't think I lost my weight. But then you're like, oh, yes, you have. Well, other people, well, yes, you have. People who watch, yeah, you see it in the videos. Okay, cool. Those hard talks of saying, this is where you fucking up at. This is where you tripping at, is what propelled me to say, okay, I know I can't give up Wingstop. But instead of the 10, I'm going to go 6. And I ain't quite at the veggie sticks punch yet because I love the fries. But I'm going to tell you this much. If I'm going to go get Wingstop, I'm going to the gym.
Facts.
And I'm going to tell you this much. And if I'm going to eat Wingstop, then I'm going to eat something light later on if I have to eat something. Or I'll let that be my last meal. Mm-hmm. I'll drink a protein shake earlier in the day that's high in protein, few in calories, so that all my main calories is coming from that Wingstop. Then another thing that switched me, somebody said, I'd rather eat my calories than drink them.
Facts.
And so that's why I kind of shifted off of, I still have them every now and then, but sweet teas and sodas, if I gotta have one, y'all know Dr. Pepper is my jam. And that zero sugar give me everything that I need. Every now and then I'd be like, give me the sugars. But
totally not me.
But that zero, I ain't there yet. That's your road. That's the road. Yeah. But I know that zero sugar gonna give me exactly what I need.
Yep. Cause it's mental. It's mental. That's good though. That's good. She wrapped that up. She wrapped her baby. She wrapped that right up. Wrapped it up. But when she said, this article says, if you're not failing, then you're not learning. If we're moving through life and we're not failing, we're not learning. Our biggest successes come from something that we had to fail to get to. And failure doesn't always have to be a big fail. It could be just a bump on the head. It could be a wall I hit where I had to figure out how to move around it. Instead of stopping, I shifted around it or whatever. You know, Ebony says her year was discipline and pivoting. And I remember my year was taking a leap when scared, right? You have to imagine not taking that leap. Imagine not pivoting. You know, we had a episode a few weeks ago where me and Ebony's talking, and I'm telling her it's time to move. Like, period. So I'm gonna be where I'm at. I'm gonna notice where I'm at, and I'm going to pivot. I'm going to get where I'm accepting where I'm at. There's no more success, growth in this wall that I've hit. That may be this relationship, that may be this job, that may be this friendship, that may be this family, whoever. I gotta go around it. I gotta shift. I gotta pivot. I gotta leap. Period. If you're not failing and learning, you failing and not learning, and we don't want that.
Before we close out, I would like to quote. Y'all know I know all the songs, the good Erykah Badu. But she said on the song On and On, she said, the man that knows something knows he knows nothing at all. And that at the end of the day, I took it as you are forever a learner. You will never know everything. Because at the point that you know everything, you probably can check on up out of here anyway. So there's always something for you to learn. You know, whatever. So if you are sitting in a season of your life where you're feeling like, dang, I'm feeling this, I'm feeling that, I'm doing that, or whatever, have your moment, feel your feels. We ain't gonna tell you that. But then too, once you done got out your feelings and actually get yourself out your feelings, understand that those things happen and we can take it for what it was. We can learn from it, and then we can move forward. And then once you take those conscious steps to getting yourself where you want to be, even though you may still stumble and trip along the way, I promise you'll see the benefits of it. I'm telling you, I stumbled this year with discipline, and I saw the benefits of, or the consequences of that stumble. But I also saw good and hard of when I was disciplined and when I stuck to it. And I'm like, okay, you know what? We're going to get back on it. And then getting back on it again is not easy. Yeah. But then you get that dog, like Eric Thomas be saying, E.T. the hip hop preacher. He said you got to have that dog that's fighting you to say, well, I'm not going to be is this. Well, I'm not going to stay in this position. What's the next step? And do what you got to do to get there.
Absolutely. That's good.
All minds clear?
All minds clear.
Thank you guys for joining us today. If you have any podcast topic suggestions or questions, be sure to email us at unapologeticallyuspod@yahoo.com. If not, comment below, hit one of our lines. You know people who know us, hit them. They always relay the message to us. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, share, rate us on all podcast platforms. And until the next time, bye y'all.
Bye.